Very happy to be joined now by the new head coach of your Cleveland Browns, Todd Monken. And Todd, for me, this is a real treat. You and I got to know each other back in 2019. You spent some time in the radio studio. We've stayed in touch kind of before these games. And to now go full circle, be back here, and to fulfill your dream of being a head coach in the National Football League here with the Cleveland Browns. How are you feeling? This has to be wild.
I'm absolutely jacked. I mean, it's what you work for your whole life.
Yep.
I mean, everything. It's surreal, really, to be honest. Playing Division III football, your dad's a high school coach. You never would envision down the road that you get to be one of 32 head coaches in the NFL, especially being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Man, it's awesome.
When you think about, your journey, because you were a head coach in college, obviously, at Southern Mississippi, turned a program that had won no games into a team that was able to go to a bowl game, and then you come back to the league, offensive coordinator, go to Georgia, offensive coordinator. I heard you say you came back to the league hoping for this opportunity. So as you're going and having success and leading, the Ravens offense and leading Lamar to MVPs, was that something that you thought, okay, it's got to be close, and then here you finally have that breakthrough?
Sure. No, 100%. That's why I left Georgia. I came to the Ravens for a couple different reasons. Number one was the challenge of moving Lamar's needle from a running quarterback that could throw to a quarterback that can win throwing the football at the most critical times in a game. And we did that. That was an ultimate challenge, okay? And hoping that he got signed back because we didn't know at the time. The second part was I wanted another opportunity to get to the NFL to become a head coach at the highest level. I'd done everything else. I've been a coordinator in college, been a head coach in Division I. I'd done everything else besides that. So you go back with that opportunity, not knowing if that would become available. What's interesting, when I left Georgia and got to the Ravens, George Godsey was our tight end coach. And he's like, why would you ever leave Georgia to come to the NFL? It was the idea of coming back with the opportunity.
What is so special about that? Because you've led an offense, but to lead a whole football team, what's so special about that for you?
Oh, it's the connection with the whole team. I mean, and it's you.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, it's the connection with the whole team. You can't even explain it.
Yeah.
That what do you want it to look like? That it's a reflection of you. It's your team. I mean, that's your team that's taking the field.
What do you want the identity of a Todd Monken-led National Football League team, a Todd Monken-led Cleveland Browns team to be?
It's real simple. It's you want the effort and the execution to pop off the tape. That's it. It's really that simple. Execution trumps everything, but not without the effort needed that's required to win big.
Yeah. And that effort, I would imagine, all the stuff that goes into it that allows you to execute at that level when it matters the most.
It's not just game day.
Right.
It's every
It's all
day.
week. Yeah.
Correct. It's being intentional every single day and confronting everything that gets in the way of winning football. Like I say that all the time. Coach Harbaugh used to say it. And in my mind, confrontation gets a bad name. I do. I think that just like with my son, discipline's the greatest form of love you can bestow upon anybody. Yeah. And I was going to confront anything that got in the way of him being the best version of himself. That's what we do with things we love. Yeah. So I don't find that an issue.
No.
My job as head coach is to confront anything that gets in the way of winning football. And the key is, how do you do it without being confrontational? That's probably the biggest thing, is how do you go about making sure that anything that's below the line gets confronted? Because ultimately we're here for one thing, is that is compete for championships, build a roster and build a staff that can compete for championships every year. I mean, I don't find that difficult.
Yeah.
What's difficult is the process of getting to that point, and players and coaches understanding that it's not easy. This is the NFL. This is the best in the world. So you're always trying to, how do you gain advantages or percentages here or there that allows you to reach the ultimate goal?
For you, what was going through this process like? Because you've interviewed for other head coaching jobs and you've been close, but to actually go through this process, and then what was it like to get that call that, yes, Todd Monken, you will be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns?
What a great question. Very thorough. I give the Browns credit. Very thorough. I think it is critically important when you're talking about the face of a multi-billion-dollar corporation that you try to get it right. And I think the way they went about it, I appreciate. Whether it was the initial Zoom meeting that we had, or then the in-person interview that took all day, or then the third opportunity I got to get in front of them, that at that point, I felt pretty assured that if I got the job, then I'm the one they wanted. They went through that exhausting process to get to that point, and when I got a message that asked if I could Zoom with them, I had a pretty good idea I was getting the job. Because they could have just called and said I didn't get it. You know, that's pretty simple. I had to ask them, I mean, can I come on with a sweatshirt for God's sakes? You know, do I have to get dressed up again? All these interviews, the positive is I've updated my wardrobe.
That's good.
Having to buy suits and shirts. And the negative is that, you know, I don't know when I'll wear them again. But the point is that, so I said, can I wear the sweatshirt? Okay. So as soon as I got on there, you know, Jimmy asked if the sweatshirt had a Cleveland Browns logo on it. I said, no, but I'll draw one in crayon. You know, I'll get on here as a 5-year-old and draw like a logo if that's what it takes. And they said, you know, how you feel about being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And you can't even imagine. You just can't.
I know, it means a lot to you. And as you said, this is kind of what you've worked for. So I feel your emotion, I feel your passion, and I know our fans will as well. But I think that that's something that is special, and it's special about this town, right? This is a passionate town. This is a team that is city that is passionate about football, that is passionate about the Cleveland Browns, and to have somebody who is as passionate about football as you are leading it, I think that's a match made in heaven.
That's why you want to be the head coach here.
Yeah.
I went through a smaller version of that at Southern Miss to turn it around, and the reward at the end is worth it. All the struggle, all that you go through, building certain parts of a team that leads to that success. It's because everything that we do is the feeling in the locker room of success. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like doing something as a team collectively together. I mean, there's absolutely nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's what you do it for.
It's the most binary of businesses that exist in the world, right? There's so much, you know, time and effort, and as you talked about, being intentional, all the things that go through leading to a Sunday. And then when that bell sounds or the gun goes off at the end of that game, it's a win or it's a loss. And there's nothing like that feeling, as you talked about, that euphoria of that win.
100%. And, you know, we talk about all the time is everything we're going to try to do is to eliminate football. And what I mean by that is, as much as I love winning and as much as I hate losing, I despise football and what it looks like when my name's on it.
Yep.
And so those are the things that I've been about throughout my career, has been, okay, how do we eliminate football? Okay? And that starts with understanding that we're human and we're going to make mistakes. And then we own it and we fight like hell to fix it. And we keep the excuse making at a minimum, and we have the maximum amount of owning it and fixing it. And that's how you're successful in life. I don't care, football or relationships. Human nature, self-preservation. When things go a certain way, it's natural to complain, to make excuses. I get it. All right. Take about 5 minutes and then pull your big boy pants up and let's own it and fix it. And that's the starting point of having a successful relationship, a successful business, and having a successful football team.
One of the things that you've been very successful at everywhere is offensive football. And now you're obviously the head coach. This was a good defense last year. It's a team that has struggled a little bit on offense. When you look at this offense, you know, what do you like about it, and what do you think needs to evolve or change to be good football and not be bad football?
Well, first of all, I came here because having an elite defense. And where does that start? Having an elite staff, having elite players, that gives you a chance.
Yep.
And now we're going to be in the process of building that offensively with certain foundational pieces. You know, some of them came in the draft last year. and a bunch of them did. And then building that from here, starting up front, obviously getting some playmakers. But it is about foundational pieces that you got through the draft and some players that are already here. But really, I did come here because of the defense to start. Because that's really, if you're good on defense, you always have a chance. Because usually it also means you're good on special teams. But the rest of it is, there's a reason why I was hired here. Let's not kid ourselves. I was hired to become elite on offense. And that's what we're going to fight every day to be. And I'm fired up because I think we have a chance to really take off. I really do. I think the time is right now to take off and really build it the way you want so you are consistently competing for championships. So what are we doing right now? Putting together an elite staff. Then we turn ourselves to the roster and building that, and then creating schemes that allow us to play fast and physical every week.
The quarterback position, obviously a big one. We've got some young guys here. We've got a guy who's been a multiple-time Pro Bowler in Deshaun Watson here as well, along with Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel. How do you kind of look at that room, and what's your kind of plan for developing it and accentuating the positives, minimizing the negatives for the quarterback, which, as you know, we all know, is the most important position in all professional sports? Sure,
without a doubt. I'm excited to get started with the guys we have in the room now, and then looking to add to that possibly, because you said it. You've got to have a quarterback to give yourself a chance to win in this league. We know that. You also have to have good players around them to really get it going. So I'm excited about Shedeur, Deshaun, Dillon, and who else we might add to that in terms of competition to really have this offense take off.
You mentioned one of the things you love is an elite defense, and I have to imagine over the last 3 years you had to craft certain game plans for Myles Garrett and dealing with Myles Garrett. You don't have to do that anymore. You have to figure out how for him not to wreck some practices probably, but you don't have to worry about him in a game situation. Was he almost unique in terms of what you had to do to prepare for a guy like that?
Oh, it absolutely sucks. It's just awful because you have to compromise. It's not really as difficult in the run game, although it is. Certainly when you're in the quarterback-driven world, his athleticism, ability to change direction, that comes into play, but it's really in your pass protection and then your route spacing that it creates, because you go into the game saying, okay, player XYZ, just happens to be Myles, he could wreck the game for you. So how do we stop him from wrecking the game? Well, what are you going to do? Slide protect to him. What are you going to do? Chip. Well, all of those things, get the ball out quickly. All of those things compromises what you can do if they don't have that type of edge rusher. It's absolutely no fun. Be a lot more fun over here. It's funny because I told Lamar texted me and said, congratulations. And I said, hey, thank you. Wouldn't have gotten the job without you and the rest of the guys. So I basically text back, now we're going to blitz you every third down, and something like that. I just said, hey, now we're going to blitz you every down, and he laughed back and there said, now you're on the other side of it, And I wouldn't be where I'm at without the players and the guys that we had, previously. But it's good to be on the side with Myles and the rest of the defensive players that we have. It's and schematically it's hard to go against. It was collectively everything.
Have you thought forever about what it would look like to put together? You mentioned earlier you got to start by putting together the staff, and we've heard George Warhop's name, who's spent some time here with the Browns as well. Is that fun for you right now? And obviously there's defensive stuff that we still need to work through, but is that something you've always thought about doing?
Well, let me just say this. It doesn't matter what side of the ball you're on. If you don't have an elite staff with you, you have no chance. In my opinion, to get to elite ideas, it takes a lot of ideas. And in order to get your players to play at high level, your assistant coaches are critical to that. I was fortunate enough, or I'm going to be fortunate enough, to get a number of guys that are going to come with me that were with the Ravens that were really the epicenter of our game planning. I can't get into specifics of all of them, but that made it easier to take this job. Elite defense, and then who do I get as an offensive staff that allows us to get right up to speed? And then once I get the staff in place, how do we turn our focus on the roster in building this roster, and then gives us a chance to really take off? And that's really when you said about the assistant coaches and the guys I've been with, and there's a comfort level of how we do things collectively, the day-to-day, the expectation. So I'm jacked from that end of it, or I'm going to be able to bring with me.
You talked about kind of the last 6 years being a doctorate for you, with Kirby Smart winning 2 national champions, being with John Harbaugh, who's won a Super Bowl at this level, and obviously very good competitive at the Ravens. You know, what did you learn from those guys?
Working for Kirby Smart is 4th and 1 every day. And the guy that has to drive that's the head coach. Harbs is like that. They get to the same place just different ways. Like, I'll give you an example that when I interviewed, I'm like, I've been so lucky to have 6 years of a doctorate in coaching. And my dad was my whole family's in coaching. I mean, my dad and my 4 uncles are all in the Illinois Coaches Hall of Fame. They're all my cousins at Army. That's all we've ever done. And you think you've been around some really good coaches and players, and so you get with Kirby, and at practice, I mean, it's every day we meet, recruiting, it's nonstop. You got it from Nick, because it's like his favorite saying is, am I the only one? Am I the only one that's going to recruit? Am I the only one that's going to pick up trash? Am I the only one that's going to make them have their jerseys on right? But it comes from the head coach. The head coach has to set that. Like, coaches would call me and say, how does Kirby do it? I said, he sets it. No other head coach wants to, like, what is it? It's a head coach. He sets that standard of work ethic on a daily basis, and he's nonstop energy. He gets to it differently, because at practice he's got a microphone. He's everybody the whole practice. You could be 3 blocks away and it's a fest. I mean, he'd be screaming at a player like, no wonder you lost contain on this punt. You don't go to class. And you can hear it like he's screaming. We went 37-3.
2 national championships.
And 30 of the games, I ended the game off a headset like I'm the worst coach in America. That my name was, seriously, I get my wife's arms like, oh my God, we only won by 30. My God damn it. You know, but that's him.
Yeah.
That's him. John does it in a more, he's going to confront everything that gets in the way of football, but he does it in a more polished way. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm a big proponent of the game's changed. Athletic quarterbacks, I always say, when you have a 2-play quarterback, you got to be elite at straining up front. You got to be great at scramble drill, breaks down a defense. Okay. All the above. If Kirby wanted us to work scramble drill more often, Kirby Smart would say, hey, you guys talk about how often you want to work scramble drill, but I don't see it every day. I don't know if I keep after asking this to, can we get scramble drill done today? John Harbaugh. Todd, I love the way you guys do scramble drill. Can I see that today? And in his own way, he's saying, work scramble drill. But he was saying it in a nice way of saying, I love the way you guys do scramble. And it's like, he's really saying, let's work scramble drill in a nice way, you know. It's like, God damn it, you know, and he's right. Yeah. But there's different ways of being tactful and how you approach somebody, you know. I wish I was better with that with my wife. I mean, you know.
We all do.
You know, something like, you know, that dress looks fucking awful on you. You know, I really like the red dress better than the pink dress.
There you go.
That would probably work better if I had more tact.
Yes.
You know, probably. Now, we've been together 40 years and been married 34, so obviously somewhere in there it didn't piss her off that bad.
Something's working.
But somewhere in there, I've gotten better. And when I said about the 6 years of my doctorate in coaching, and what I would say to people is, we didn't get that, if somebody says something about, you're going to turn 60 next week, I'd say, can you imagine if you had gotten me 15 years ago? How much better I am now than I would have been then? I mean, seriously, how much better as a coach I am right now, this moment, that I would have been at 45. I would have never been anywhere where I am now. You're getting the best version of Todd Monken than you would have gotten 15 years ago. Fact. And that's, sometimes I think everything gets timed up perfectly, you know, of what God's plan is. I really do believe that, you know.
So when you have that experience, you talked about that doctorate. So you're with Kirby there. You guys win 2 national championships. So he's a national champion at that level. John Harbaugh's obviously won a Super Bowl. But as you just illustrated, they came at it from 2 very different ways. But it sounds like the thing that was the most important is that they were both authentic to themselves
100%.
In that leadership. And so you are as authentic as it gets. I can tell you I've done a lot of these first. So this is fantastic. But has that helped you realize that there isn't necessarily a right way? You got to get to the right end goal, but how you get there, as long as you're true to yourself, that gives you the best chance.
100%. You have to be authentic You have to have a crystal clear plan of where you want to get to, and then don't lower your standards. Don't widen the plate. We become a society that just widens the plate. We accept mediocrity. We accept just being okay. We accept, hey, I said be home at 11:30, and okay, 11:35 is okay. No, that didn't work in the Munkin household.
It didn't work in the Zagura household
No,
growing
it
up,
didn't
I
work.
can tell you that.
No, this is when you were going to be at home. This is the standard we set for you. Like that, I don't understand that. That doesn't live in my world of a certain standard of excellence that is hard. That is hard. That is not easy, but it's not easy to be elite. It's easy to have elite traits. It's elite to have certain skill sets, but to be elite at the highest level against the best and separate yourself, that's not easy. That's hard. That's why fourth and one comes in, because you got to approach it every day that way. When you're looking for all the small percentages, the certain advantages that you could get to win, especially at this level when the games are so close. Games come down to a play here or there where you have an opportunity. That play we ran here on 4th and 1, we'd rep that for 3 weeks. It was really Coach Harbaugh's idea. It wasn't my idea. Coach Harbaugh's idea. Hey, we're running the QB sneak with Mark Andrews. Well, what else can we do off of it? What can we play off of it? And we pitched it the week before. So, like, what can we play off of that? And as the coordinator, your job is to filter through all that. Like, Coach had another crazy idea that I didn't like. But that's a good thing. You like ideas and you get to this. And then you've got to rep it. So when that moment comes and you're sitting there saying, okay, well, do we want to run X, Y, Z? And we're like, of course I do, because we've shrunk the margin for error. If we get the specific look, we feel really good. And the players have done it so often to where you really want, in those critical moments, you want those plays to be like the songs you know all the words to. Like, you don't want to be guessing about the frickin' words to a song.
Yeah.
Like, you better be able to sing it by heart. And that critical moment, I'm not talking about first down. I'm not talking about some other part of the game. But the critical money down, the gotta have it's, you better have called a play that you know all the words to. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. And that's the preparation piece. And then you can live with the results. Had that play, had Mark tripped and fallen, had it not worked, I could have lived with it. We did everything up till that. Now, if we'd have run it after the first week, had we done it where it really didn't look as clean in practice, and that's where I think players and coaches have to understand, that's why you do it so often. And you show those clips to the guys. Like, you wonder why we rep this so damn often in practice, and you're like, oh, we're repping this concept again, and then you're like, bingo, that's exactly right. I'll go back to the 2021 National Championship game and working on cadence. And in college, you're working the clap, and ask for the ball, right? So we had worked all year at being elite at and going on 2. And I'll be damned in the National Championship game if we didn't go on 2 and did it twice, and we hit a go ball as a free play to A.D. Mitchell, and it led to us winning. It gave us the lead. It led to us winning the game. And you can point to those moments of why it's so important, why what you're doing is so critical at the most critical times in a game, of why you're doing what you're doing. Because you got to show them, and they got to understand why you're doing what you're doing, for them to have the buy-in, and why you're doing something so often that gives you, again, for the ability for it to show up on Saturday or Sunday. That's what it's about. That it's a byproduct of the work you put in and the reps that you put in every day.
Coming in here now, you're going to be paired with Andrew Berry, the Browns general manager. How was your relationship as you guys got to know each other through this kind of process to become the head coach, and how do you envision that relationship going forward? Because you talked about putting the staff together, and then now you talk about getting to that roster, and that's something you guys are going to have to do, in concert.
Well, through the process, the interview process, I think you get to know more about, you have interaction, you get to know more about those that are part of the process, ownership, general manager, people within the building. When you come and you get to meet, and you get to ask questions. So you really get a good feel for, okay, is this a collaborative effort? Are we aligned similarly of what it takes to build a championship roster and a championship team? And Andrew checks all the boxes. I mean, he just did in terms of what I was looking for. Because I think that's the best way to get to an end goal, that you see your vision is the same. It's crystal clear. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. And ownership is on board of what it takes. What it takes in terms of hiring, what it takes in terms of the roster. I mean, all the above.
We've talked already about how, you came here to make this an elite offense, and that's what you've done everywhere you've been as a play caller. You mentioned today in the press conference you will call plays. Why is that so important to you, and what do you love about that chess match and being able to dial up the right thing? You've talked about all the work that goes into it, to rep it and rep it and rep it, but to dial it up at those right moments.
Well, it's something I feel like I'm good at.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's a reason why I got the job. I haven't been a head coach in the NFL. It's not like they have something to go back on and say, oh, wow, we won a Super Bowl here. And like, no, because we've been good on offense.
Yep.
But with that being said, that only happens if you have an elite staff that has ideas and adds to the game planning part of it.
Yep.
Because like I said before, like you only get to elite ideas by having lots of ideas. The original skateboard was wooden with wheels. Now it's fiberglass. Hell, that damn thing can go sideways and fall. Who knows what it can do now? That's how I view it, is that you're always evolving. You're always under construction as a human being, as a coach, as an offense. And you're always thinking outside the box. Our system is we will do whatever we need to do to score. It's not a West Coast, East Coast, South, North. It's what we need to do to score points. But as I said before, the play calling becomes easier once you built an elite staff, and then you build the roster with starting up front, elite playmakers, the quarterback position, a system that is player friendly, that allows them to play fast. Then it becomes easy to call plays at that point. And the people use the term of your players being able to play fast. It's not just about their speed, it's about their ability to function quickly in a well-oiled system that there's a certain amount of elegant simplicity to it that allows them to play at a high speed. And so all of that part of it is what leads to, what makes it a lot easier to call plays.
When was the last time you were on the sidelines?
I was thinking about that the other day. The last time I was on the sidelines would have been 2017 at the Buccaneers.
Okay.
That was before I was calling the offense in 18. I was the offensive coordinator, but I wasn't calling it in 16 and 17. Then I called it in 18. I was in the box. So it would have been then, but I wasn't calling it. Last time I've called it from the field would have been at Southern Miss.
Yeah. What's different about it?
The emotional part of it. I think it's a little bit easier upstairs, to keep the emotions out of it. Yeah. Not that you're still not emotional up there, but you're away from a little bit of the crowd noise and the players, I don't have to hear about a skill guy about not getting the ball upstairs. I mean, I can hear about it through the damn headset, or run the ball more from the offensive line, or all of that. You can, keep, But the positive being on the sideline is you are right there. You can communicate with your quarterback a little easier. You can communicate with your offense. You can feel the game a little bit better from the field. You just need a little more help from upstairs, down at distance where the ball is. Some of those things, but at the end of the day, it's really still about the plan. It's really about the execution of the plan, because that trumps everything. It's once to me, play calling for the most of the game is not the most difficult part of being elite on offense. Situational football can be. That can, 2 minute, 4 minute, coming out, backed up, certain things that way, fourth downs, decisions, those things. That's the work. Everything else you put in during the week, and then you just live with it. It's like the draft, right? Like you do all the work beforehand, and then just make your pick. You've shrunk the margin for error, and you make the pick, just like offensively. So that gets a little bit way too much of like, hey, at that point, make sure that you love the plan. You put the work in during the week, and then let it rip. Call the plays, and you've just shrunk the margin for error because you think you know. You don't know. People think, my wife always says, why don't you just call the plays at work? It seems that simple. I said, well, no. I wish it was that simple. But you don't know that.
Right.
The work is during the week. the work that you have to put into it so that it comes to life. I mean, the players make it come to life. You do all the work during the week to let your elite players come to life come Sunday. I mean, that's really what you're doing. But at that point, I'm calling what's on the sheet. But I'm just saying in general, you mostly stay with the plan, and then you make adjustments. You know, what's changed? What are they doing differently? But most of the teams that you play that are really good, they do what they do. They're just really
They're good at it. Yeah. As you said, elegant simplicity, right?
Correct. They do what they do. Because if you do everything, you're probably not really good at anything. So you know, kind of going into it, maybe a few adjustments down and distance wise, but what you're good at and what they're good at, and now who executes better, who executes at a high level when it matters the most.
And I know you love ball. It's so apparent that you eat, breathe, sleep football, and obviously do a good job with your family as well, because you mentioned your son earlier and how that confrontation to make him be the best version of himself. What is one thing about you, and it doesn't have to be football related at all, that you do want the fans of the Cleveland Browns to know, so that when they look down, they see Todd Monken on the sideline, they see you in press conferences, that they know at your core this is something you thought you want to have in the back of their minds when they see you?
It's 4th and 1 every day. I mean, I don't take this lightly. I mean, I don't care whatever I'm in charge is, my name's on it. And to me, that's what I've always been about.
Well, the last time you had 4th and 1 in our stadium, it was pretty good for you, not as good for us. So we're happy that you're going to do 4th and 1s for us now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Coach, thank you so much. Welcome to the Cleveland Browns, and congratulations on fulfilling a lifelong dream. And I know it's really the start of a dream, because now the next dream, right, is to hoist that Lombardi Trophy. And man, we all hope that you do that here in Cleveland.
You bet. Wouldn't be any place better than here.